Good morning. Happy Saturday from River City, home buyers. This is kind of more of a podcast video, I feel like. I just really wanted to talk about a topic that I think has become a very critical issue in our society, in our workplace, and in our market. So, see in my t-shirt, unstoppable. Um, So a lot of times we wear things like that because that's how we're feeling, we're expressing an emotion, right? So in this case, I would like to talk about what does it mean to be unstoppable to you? So in your profession, in your work, in your personal life, actually, I guess in all of it, what does it mean to be unstoppable? Does it mean that you are an incredible athlete, you run a million marathons? Like, what does being unstoppable look like for you? And why is that an important part of your goals for you to be unstoppable? Well, you got to be unstoppable and committed and relentless and consistent in the steps and systems that you put into place if you want your goals to come into fruition, okay? So let's take this to the next step. I feel like this ties in really strongly with something that has become a point of contention, a point of frustration, a point of like kind of stepping back and trying to figure it out. And that is the concept of work ethic. Work ethic, okay? Not being ethical as far as your political background or anything like that, but your general work ethics. So let me just break this down a little further. When I was a school-age child, school-age teenager, school-age all of that, the students were accountable for their work. You didn't go home and put all your homework in front of your parent and say, oh, I need all this help, or can you do this project for me, Mom? I don't really understand it. Can you write me a note to excuse me because I had a soccer game or my family went to Disney World? So as a former educator, I could tell you that this is a real everyday prevalent thing that teachers are experiencing in schools and with kids, okay, is the, oh, well, Susie's not coming to school Friday, we're going to Disney for the weekend. So Susie will need an extension on her project that's due Monday. Huh? Couple little examples for you. It's kind of like the couch conversation thing I started a few weeks ago, talking about little personal fun facts. So yes, I was in education for 17 years. About 50% of that in leadership in the education realm. And so I remember when I was a teacher in a fourth grade classroom, and we had one of those, well, more than one probably, but helicopter parent, okay? If you don't know what a helicopter parent is, it's probably because you're in your 30s, you're raising little ones, and you don't know about this concept. So I would encourage you to look it up because it's international term. Anyway, she was a helicopter parent, always hovering, always babying. And she interrupted my lesson with a phone call one day. And I picked up the phone, excused myself to the class, and she said, Miss Harris, Devin forgot his spoon to eat his fruit cup for lunch today with his lunch. Can you please make sure, can you tell him to get a spoon? And I said, no, Mrs. Smith, I'm sorry, I can't. And she got very quiet for a minute, she didn't say anything. And then she started to laugh, assuming that, I was joking, which she soon found out I wasn't. And she laughed, and when I did not laugh with her, she didn't quite understand why, and I said, Miss Smith, Devin is 9 years old in the 4th grade. If he can't figure out how to ask for a spoon in the lunchroom to eat his fruit cup, you and I aren't doing him any favors by asking that question for him. Make kids responsible, okay? This process starts real early. When my 4th graders came with an excuse for not turning their packets in on Friday, their sentences at the beginning of the year started with, "My mom forgot to," and I shut it right down. I said, Whose homework was this? Whose responsibility was this? Because I trained them with a very easy to manage system. One folder, one packet, you take it home on Monday, you bring it in on Friday. And every day in the same spot, you write your homework down and you pack that planner. So when you go home, all you need is your homework folder, your planner, open it up, boom. So I got a lot of pushback from the young parents about, but they're only in 4th grade. Okay, so these are the same children that then when they're in high school, mom is scheduling all these conferences with the grade level teams and administration about her child's grades. Why is the high school parent even having a meeting about their child's grades? Your child should be meeting with their teachers about their grades, okay? And so the reason I bring this up is because this is what becomes a complete lack of personal responsibility and work ethic when all your cute little boys and girls graduate high school, college, trade school, junior college, whatever they're doing. It's also the reason why a lot of them don't make it through a 4-year university, because they have no self-discipline and no sense of personal accountability, because some helicopter parent has swooped down and done this for them for their entire life. So then they become these entitled adults who you call them to do a job. They want the same pay as a top skilled guy with 15 years experience or degree or both. And the work quality, there's no pride in the product that they put out. They just get in there, get it done, and stick their hand out to be paid. I had a group not too long ago, way overcharged me to crawl under a house and just simply remove some debris. When they pulled it out, they piled it on top of brand new vinyl siding. They actually had to be told to come back, bag it up, throw it away. And they were surprised that bagging the trash and taking it with them was part of the $300 they were paid to crawl this house. This is only a minor example, and believe me, I could give you, and I don't have to give them to you, you have your own. But there is a serious, serious problem with people not being able to manage their time to even show up when they're supposed to, and they just assume that they can show up when it's convenient for them. They also just don't care what their product looks like when they put it out. They are building their brand every day with their lack of work ethic. If you want to be unstoppable, you have to brand yourself as disciplined, high work ethic, putting out a quality product, showing up, being present when you're supposed to be present, and putting out a product that meets or exceeds your client's expectations. And if those right there are not the top steps, if you have to put a system in place to get yourself up earlier, whatever it is, to get to where you have to be, that you're responsible for being, if you haven't figured out yet that if you're the new one on board, you should be beating your competition's prices just to prove yourself and establish yourself in your market. You want to make a mark and a brand, you can make one of two. You only get one chance one chance to make a first impression, one chance to brand yourself with that first impression. Because once it's branded and engraved, it's very difficult to go back and change it. So I think some of us, especially on the younger side of the spectrum, and I'm not trying to be biased, but I'll be honest with you, it's that under 30 margin that we're seeing this the most in. Ask your parents when they started work. Ask your parents when they were in school who kept track of their grades and their work. Ask your grandparents, because I think you'll be very surprised. You might call it old school, you can call it OG, old school, whatever you want, but guess what? It works, okay? It works. Being responsible, reliable, dependable, consistent, having some work ethic, having some pride in your work, and charging a client reasonably, not trying to gouge them. That is how you establish a brand. That's how you become unstoppable. That's not some OG stuff. That's called being a professional. So if you want to survive in this or any market out there, stand out for being someone with work ethic. Go to a Yellowbird Connect. Go to a meeting hosted by Elena or Mercedes or Gabe. These are folks that fit into that Gen Z category of age, and they have some of the strongest work ethic that I've seen in 40-year-olds out there. So although it's partially a generational thing, it's really partially probably how you were raised and how much your parents bailed you out. You know, don't bring your kid's lunch to school if he forgets it. Okay? They'll figure it out. They'll give him something to eat. He'll be okay. Make your children stand on their own 2 feet. Make your children responsible, and that means taking the consequences when they're not responsible. And you will build a generation of future workers, future business owners with the proper work ethics and standards that most of our current generation is sorely missing. And it's what's going to make your kids, your students, your young folks successful. It's going to be what makes or breaks them being unstoppable. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have an awesome weekend.